Good morning from England, from the UK. Since putting the footage together from Sky News about 10 minutes ago, in the last 2 or 3 minutes, there has been more breaking news as to the Queen. All the Queen's children, as well as Prince William, are now in Balmoral, amid concerns over the Queen's health. Robert Hardman, who is the royal commentator and author, said, "The palace does not issue bulletins on the Queen's health unless it is significant." So he's sending out prayers to Queen Elizabeth, Her Majesty, today. God bless her. Carrie Pink.
News that we brought you a short time ago. The Buckingham Palace have made a statement about the Queen's health. She does remain comfortable at Balmoral, but they are concerned for her health and they have recommended that she remains under medical supervision. Just a short time ago, the Speaker of the House of Commons made this announcement in the House.
I wish to say something about the announcement which has just been made about Her Majesty. I know I speak on behalf of the entire House when I say that we send our best wishes to Her Majesty the Queen and that she and the royal family are in our thoughts and prayers at this moment. I'm going to take no more, if there is anything else, we will update the House accordingly. Thank you. Ian Blackford.
And in response, the Prime Minister, Liz Truss, told the House that the whole country will be deeply concerned by the news from Buckingham Palace this lunchtime, adding that her thoughts and the thoughts of the people across the United Kingdom are with Her Majesty the Queen and her family at this time. So a lot of warm wishes being sent to the royal family. Let's return to our royal correspondent, Rhiannon Mills. Rhiannon, I mean, obviously people will be concerned about the Queen. We last saw her on Tuesday, didn't we, when she met the new Prime Minister, and she is 96 and does look rather frail. But what else are you able to tell us?
So, Jane, I have literally just heard in the last few moments that their Royal Highnesses, the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall, have travelled to Balmoral, and also that the Duke of Cambridge is travelling to Balmoral as well. We know that Prince Charles and Camilla have been spending a great deal of time in Scotland over the summer holidays. They often do. They have their own property at Birkhall, which is just up the road from Balmoral. And also some of the papers have been suggesting that the Prince of Wales has been slightly unusually making daily visits to go and see the Queen, whether that's accurate or not, but just to give you an idea of some of the topics that people have been talking about when it comes to the Queen being up in Scotland. But yeah, it has to be, it said it is unusual to hear that the Duke of Cambridge is also now travelling up to Balmoral. But I think it does very much chime with that statement that we had from Buckingham Palace just after 12:30, in which they said that following further evaluation this morning, the Queen's doctors are concerned for Her Majesty's health and have recommended that she remains under medical supervision. The Queen remains comfortable and is at Balmoral. They also, I understand, have informed family members, which of course would make sense now that we hear that they are They are all heading on their way to, many of them are heading on their way to Balmoral at the moment to no doubt see the Queen for themselves. There had been some speculation around that the Queen may have fallen, but we're being guided away from that. It has to be said that a lot of speculation started certainly on social media when pieces of paper were being passed around, it seemed, within the House of Commons shortly after that energy statement that was made by Prime Minister Liz Truss. So that's where speculation started. Has to be said, it's really unusual for the Palace to give us updates when it comes to the Queen's medical matters. We know that obviously last night they had to do the same. They had to tell us that she had to cancel that Privy Council meeting, which she was going to do virtually from Balmoral. And then today we're being told that not just that the Queen is being told to rest, but the doctors, they are concerned about her, and she remains under medical supervision. But also worth pointing out, she hasn't been moved to hospital. She is currently still at Balmoral, which of course is where we've seen the latest pictures of her. I have to say there were many people who looked at that picture of her standing in front of the fireplace in the drawing room, waiting to welcome her 15th Prime Minister. And it was more of an image of a grandmother, I would say, than as head of state. And in some ways, I think people did look at her and think, gosh, she has become more frail. And certainly I think we have seen that over the last 12 months. I was thinking back to this time last year where we saw the Queen planting a tree at Balmoral with the Prince of Wales. She was then very busy. She opened the Scottish Parliament, she opened the Welsh Parliament. She was outside Buckingham Palace launching the Commonwealth Baton Relay with Prince Edward. She also then conducted a business summit at Windsor, and she was incredibly busy. But then in October she was told to cancel at the last minute a trip to Northern Ireland, and it was then around that time that we heard that she had to go into hospital for some tests. Everything that I've been hearing over the last few weeks, there's been no sense of a deterioration as such, but there is no doubt that this statement, when you put it into the context of the fact that the royal family very rarely like to share information about their health, it is concerning that they have told us that the Queen's doctors are concerned for Her Majesty's health.
Rhiannon, when we look back at, overall across the Queen's life, robust health is really how you would describe her, wouldn't it? I mean, absolutely. Like any human, she's had one or two ailments, but by and large, she is a pretty robust human being.
And I think that's why it's come as a shock, I think, over the last 12 months, where we have seen that she's had to hold her hands up and say, look, I can't do it all. And we have been so used to her just getting on and carrying out her official duties, and almost forgotten the fact that she has, for the last 6 years, been in her 90s. I've always said it's been remarkable that, for example, engagements at the likes of Westminster Abbey, she would be able to walk up the aisle completely unaided. The steps at St Paul's, which are stone steps, very steep, again, not holding on to any rail, not having a walking stick. And so I think that is why for some people it is particularly shocking to see that there has been this deterioration. But I think both in the Queen's mind, we cannot forget that she has always, since the age of 21, committed herself to that sense of service and duty. There's that really famous speech that she gave when she was only 21 years old, where she said, no matter how long or short her life would be, it was going to be committed to her country and her Commonwealth. And that, I think, we continue to see now. And for her and her advisors, there is no doubt that it was really important that she was seen on Tuesday. These are tough times for families up and down the country. There is a sense of political turmoil for some. And so the fact that they wanted the Queen to be seen, I think there are many people up and down the country who still see her as a strength of a source of stability, of strength, and as one person pointed out to me the other day, actually what we saw on Tuesday was that sense of continuity that she has provided over 7 decades now. She was there once again carrying out that important constitutional role, that important constitutional duty, a sense of continuity at a time when some people are feeling in flux and concerned about what else is happening in this country.
And Rhiannon, as you're talking to us, we're getting more reaction to this news of the concern over her health. The leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, has said that, along with the rest of the country, I'm deeply worried by the news from Buckingham Palace this afternoon. My thoughts are with Her Majesty the Queen and her family at this time, and I join everyone across the United Kingdom in hoping for her recovery.